9 Plus Us presents the Baseball Together podcast with your hosts, Blackjack Brad and Kansas City Little Big Briggy Blue Eyes. And now, Baseball Together.
Welcome to this week's episode of the Baseball Together podcast, Baseball Family, Friends and Family, Baseball Friends and Family,
We should say family from now on.
We should start saying family.
Family.
Anyways, I'm Brad, and as always, I'm joined by Kansas City Little Big Briggy Blue Eyes.
You got it.
I did get it.
Nailed it.
Take 26.
Look, that was pretty impressive, man.
Anyway, we don't have too much for you today just because there wasn't a whole lot that went on, but instead it was big news. So I guess you could say we're going for quantity over quality this week. Going to talk about proposals for Spring Training 2.0, ways that Major League Baseball is going to try to get a season in, and then we'll go through and talk about our games of the week.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
But
Do it.
Before we do that, let's talk about how you can get in touch with the show. You can join the VIP group on Facebook. Search 9 Plus Us VIPs. We will add you. Great places for conversation and things like that. And you can also submit to the mailbag. We always talk about questions, comments, snide remarks, concerns, topics, whatever you want.
We do that.
Shoot us a message through the mailbag. There's a link in every episode to the mailbag. Also, follow us on Instagram at Baseball Together. Follow us on Twitter at Baseball, the number 2, Together, at Baseball Together on Twitter.
Sure.
All right. That settles that. Now, Brig.
Yeah.
Let's talk proposals.
Wait. Before we do that, I have a question for you.
What's your question for me?
What are you wearing?
Well, today I have on the Arizona Baseball Together shirt in black with Sedona red and white. And on top, the hat. I'm wearing my pirate hat again.
Yes.
Because I can't get enough of it. I can't get enough of the Corona pirate
Me neither,
hat.
man.
So,
Me neither.
yeah. What about you, Brig? What are you wearing today?
I got my Foul Lines t-shirt on. This one's Cincinnati. And I am wearing my perfect hat. Oh, yeah.
Sweet.
It's the best.
It's so perfect.
It's perfect.
I got mine up here, up above. You can see it on video. You can see my perfect hat up there.
Sure enough. We'll put links in the doobly-doo.
Yeah, I've been slacking on putting those links in the doobly-doo, but I'll make sure they're there this time for sure.
Bro.
Get for both hats and the shirts. There's always a link to the shop in the doobly-doo, though, so you can always get there that way.
Yep.
And
the way you search for stuff that fits your team is to search by city. That's it. That's all you got to do. Mm-hmm. It's real simple.
Yep.
All right. All right, Brad. Let's talk current events.
All right. So we had a couple of proposals come down by Major League Baseball this week about ways that they're going to try to get spring training in and then the season as well.
Yeah.
So we mentioned last week that Scott Boras, had said, hey, let's put everybody in a bubble, and then we can test every day, and then you can go play baseball. We laughed at it and said it was ridiculous. There's a lot of things about it that are ridiculous.
And then?
Come to find out, Major League Baseball thought, you might be onto something there.
Oh, Scotty B. Got more good ideas.
So Major League Baseball, instead of just having teams in Florida, teams in Arizona, let's bring everybody to Arizona.
Yeah.
Everybody. And the reason they chose Arizona instead of Florida is because of the proximity of the ballparks.
Right.
You've got
for sure.
You've got 11 spring training facilities plus 10 spring training facilities plus Chase Field to play.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So you could do it that way, and play some, and there were some rules that they were going to incorporate to kind of facilitate the proximity of the way they're going to do the games, the scheduling, things like that. One of them was 7-inning doubleheaders.
Yeah. Which
I don't love it from a TV aspect and also from records,
statistics,
and also
yep.
Statistics. Yeah, because it doesn't really match up because how many games do you watch where a team chips away at the lead in the 7th inning?
Oh,
you're down 6.
That's when it goes down.
2 in the 7th.
Yes.
2 in the 8th. 3 in the 9th to win the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
So I'm not wild about the 7-inning doubleheaders.
Nope.
Okay.
But we're not really tracking everything the same way anyway. Already we know that this is going to be counted differently on every level. So,
yep. There is going to be one big fat asterisk next to this entire season if it gets played.
Yeah. About as big as the one next to 2017. Yeah.
Almost. But
sorry, I couldn't help it.
But no, so it's fine because since they're not playing games, we have to get at the Astros somehow.
You
right?
have to.
We have to continue it.
We're throwing
tradition.
We're throwing inside right now. I think
exactly. Nobody else can throw, so we're gonna throw.
Right.
Did you see what the Mets did this week?
No.
Speaking of which, so a lot of teams have been doing like simulated games with MLB The Show because it looks so realistic. Anyway, it's like you're watching a real game.
Yeah.
And so they had a game going, and they had the broadcasters actually doing play-by-play on it.
Oh, sweet.
And so they brought up this, actually what we're talking about right now, about teams playing in Arizona, and one of the things is, like we mentioned before, no fans in the stands, right?
Yeah.
And they said, well, you think, it'd be really quiet like that. You'd think it would be a whole lot easier to hear a trash can getting banged from the dugout.
Oh,
no fans in the stadium.
Yes.
Like, oh, yeah, not even a real game. They're still throwing it at the Astros.
That's a good dig. That's a really good dig.
It was really good. It was funny. I liked it a lot.
Good for them.
Made me laugh.
Yes.
So we mentioned no fans in the stands, 7-inning doubleheaders, no mound visits.
Right.
This is part of social distancing, right?
Oh,
Which
sure.
I'm not entirely sure how that works, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
Unless everybody has a phone in their pocket, you just time out and start texting. So I'm not really sure how that one works.
Except for all the players that don't speak the same language as the person they're trying to speak to.
They have Google Translate.
Yeah, yeah. Or they'll do it like Dee with a bunch of emojis. Like, this is what we're talking about. Oh, okay, I got it. Pictures.
Yeah.
Pictures.
Okay, understood. Okay. Instead of having signs of the catcher, you've got designated emojis.
Yeah.
This is what this emoji means. Yeah. I think you're onto something there.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Go like college football when they hold up the signs with all the different things on it.
I was just gonna say that. Depending on if the pitcher's right-handed or left-handed, there's a picture of Will.
Yes,
there's a picture of Will Ferrell, one of the first or third base coaches, holding up a picture of Will Ferrell, and then the other guy's holding
That's
up.
right.
The next time, it's a picture of a tiger.
This could revolutionize baseball. Streamlining it.
Yeah, man.
But the thing is, though, it's not going to be held up from the dugout because that's another thing, part of social distancing.
Right.
Since there's no fans in the stands, that's where the players are going to sit. They're going to sit 6 feet apart in the stands, which with the netting, I guess you could technically take the netting down, right?
Yeah, you could. That's an interesting thought. I didn't think about that.
Because if there's not a bunch of people there, then everybody's mostly safe.
Yeah, yeah.
So you could take most of the netting down, and there's typically like a gate opening at field level from the stand, so that would be pretty. I don't know.
Wait a minute.
It's interesting, that's for sure.
Wait a minute. If the players are in the stands and they're ready to get on the field at a moment's notice, does that mean that they're grown men who took a ball glove to watch a baseball game? I'm just saying.
Grown men wearing, I guess it's their own name on the back.
Sometimes. Yeah.
But yeah, they still have a glove at the ball field. Yeah. I'm telling you, this is going to revolutionize baseball.
There's a whole lot going on
There's
here.
no longer going to be a stigma.
Oh, man. All right, robot umpires so that the umpires don't
robo-umps.
Don't have to stand so close to the back of the catcher.
Yeah, which as a catcher, I would appreciate that.
Yeah.
I hated sometimes they'd really get down on top of you and tug your chest protector and things like that. It's like, geez, just leave me alone. I'm trying to work here too. Jeez.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, so robo umps, which I think we both figured was going to be a thing this year.
Yeah,
anyway,
at some level, especially with the short season for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. And then this is my favorite part. Out of all of this, this is like the one thing to me, one of the two things to me that really sticks out and is like absolutely perfect, and that is increased use of mic'd up players.
That's an absolute must.
Yep. Yep.
If you can't have
Yes,
people at the
please,
game,
and
you
thank
have to enhance the fan experience, and that is a great way to do it.
Yep. And the other thing too is this is obviously going to mean no blackouts, right?
How could it?
You can't black out games if there's nobody
Exactly. Which is another one of the greatest things ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You can watch any game you want. You could watch baseball literally all day long if they're playing double headers, possibly triple headers.
Oh yeah, dude. You know that's happening.
Yeah, roll out of bed, turn it on. Yeah,
for sure.
For sure. Now, this is the one problem I have with this whole thing.
Just one. Okay, go
is
ahead.
that I actually read this article. There's a lot of issues, but this is like the one main logistical thing to me.
Okay.
I read an article. It was about a month ago. It's around the time I was in Arizona. I was looking at stuff with Chase Field and things like that, and I guess they're having issues with the roof opening and closing.
Oh,
from what I understand.
Hmm.
And so what they were doing is they were actually exploring other venues. Like one of the things that they looked at was playing their regular season, like their home games in Vancouver, Canada, at a stadium up there.
Whoa.
So they straight up were not going to use Chase Field if the roof didn't get fixed. Now, none of these spring training facilities obviously have a roof because they're like college fields, right?
Yep.
And the reason is because the owner and general manager said, we're not going to send our guys out there in 115-degree heat.
It's a factor.
Like, we wouldn't do that. I don't think Major League Baseball would allow it. And now they're saying, oh, forget the heat. Who cares? Just go out there and play baseball. It is hot in Arizona in the summer.
Yeah. Bad.
That's too hot to play baseball, too hot to be not sitting covered up, because if you're sitting in the stands and not in the dugout, there's no shade.
Yeah, most of the time.
Like some of them, I know Surprise you'd have a little bit of shade, but it depends on the time of day.
And if you're up that high, it takes a minute to get back on the field.
Yes. Yeah.
That'd
Exactly.
be a problem.
Yeah. So from that aspect, from the fact that the Diamondbacks have already said we're not going to play in that kind of heat without a retractable roof, that alone to me says this isn't going to happen. So that's really like the big thing for me why I don't think it's going to work. I mean, there's other logistical issues as far as they say they're going to live in hotels and they'll be isolated from everybody and everything. But what happens if, I don't know, I mean, some of these guys are really young. Like, what if there's a booty call, you know? Guy goes out and tests positive for COVID when he gets back. You know, I mean,
that's a legitimate concern.
I mean, it's a real thing that could happen. You know,
totally.
I'm sure some of these guys have their Arizona girlfriends, and they go out and they see them, and who knows? So,
I'm sure you're right. No, that's awesome. That's a good thought.
So I don't think that necessarily will work, especially having that many. There's not 15 venues. You can't have 15 games a day. As far as I guess you could do morning and night, right?
Yeah, you could.
You'd have
to.
Yeah, you could have the Mariners and Padres come in the morning, and then the Yankees and Rays at night. You know, but
sure.
Yeah, that would be interesting. That would definitely have a high school and college feel. It'd be like watching a summer-long college baseball tournament.
Well, and not only that, but who's going to prepare all those meals?
Yeah.
Because the whole restaurant industry is basically shut down here.
Is it? Because you can get get carry out here pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, some places you can get carry out here still, but not all of them.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, and I mean those guys, the spreads they have after those games that they're used to, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't see that being able to happen if any restaurants are shut down. And oh shoot, I forgot what I was gonna say. Dang it!
Oh man.
Oh no, I remember. I did see, despite all of the questions surrounding this whole thing and oddities that go with it, I did see guys like Nolan Arenado said, "Hey, if there's baseball to be played, I'll go." Joe Madden said, "I'll play on the moon if it means we get to play baseball."
Yeah.
Which I understand, because for these guys, they don't play, they don't get paid. So I'm sure that's part of that motivation.
Well, and us as fans, we're like, well, do it, right? Like,
oh yeah,
we're sitting around so desperate.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter. Like we've been watching old games every
Yeah.
week, at least one old game a week.
I'm tired of watching games in standard definition. It sounds snobby, but I am.
Dude, I watched a game the other day and I was like, man, replay has come a long way.
And I also had the realization today that 2003 was really not that far removed from 1995.
No.
That the styles people were wearing in the stands were very, very similar.
Totally. Okay, but then the difference between 03 and like 2010 was dramatic.
Yes. Whole world of a difference when you go to those
Yep.
two. Yeah, it was insane. Absolutely insane.
It's very crazy. It wasn't long until things turned around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But there was one more proposal. Let's talk about this other proposal real quick.
Yeah, we have to. This one's amazing.
Yeah, I actually like this one better. It doesn't
I
mean
do
it's
too.
gonna work or it's gonna happen. What this one is they're actually just let everybody go to their assigned spring training facilities or wherever they go. You know, the Yankees will be in Florida, the Mariners will be in Arizona, and instead of having National League and American League, basically the Cactus League and the Grapefruit League will just extend into the regular season, and then they'll align 3 divisions per league.
Yeah, and let me lay out what the divisions look like proposed, okay? So in the Cactus League, they've got Northwest, West, and Northeast. So the Northwest is Milwaukee, Texas, San Diego, Seattle, Kansas City. The West is LA, Cincinnati, Chicago, Cleveland, and Anaheim. Okay, get off my back. And then the Northeast is Arizona, Chicago, North, the Cubs, the Rockies, San Francisco Giants, Oakland A's. And then in the Grapefruit League, they've got it broken down like this. North, South, East. North is Yankees, Blue Jays, Phillies, Tigers, Pirates. The South is Red Sox, Rays, Braves, Twins, Orioles. And the East is Nationals, Astros, Cardinals, Mets, and the Marlins.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how they'd be lined up for division races and everything.
Yeah. And I think I kind of like that. It's like a cool little preview of any future realignment, right?
Yeah. I agree.
If you were to split into East-West instead of American League, National League, and then go geographically from there, it'd be really interesting. And I'm assuming I think I saw they'd have a universal DH this year.
I didn't see that.
I think I saw that in there, but I think it makes sense because you're more likely to give a job than to take one away as far as the DH
at this
goes.
point. Yes.
Where there's no league affiliation, no league alignment, it would make sense. They just be like, you know what, sweeping rule across, we'll give it a try, see how it goes. So.
That was my indigestion.
It's waiting
because
for
this is
it.
going to be a watershed moment, bro. Everybody else is going to be like, "Whoa, I kind of don't like the, that I have to go up there and hit like this." That 2020 was pretty cool.
Yeah,
and I'm like against it.
Well, I know there are some pitchers who are really going to be against it. Like I think Madison Bumgarner's one who said that he doesn't want the DH. That's probably part of the reason he stayed in the NL West.
Right. Yeah.
So
Totally.
I know Zach Greinke likes to hit.
Yeah.
So there are guys out there who like
know.
to, but I don't know. I prefer the DH, but honestly, I prefer the strategy that comes with not having a DH.
That's what I think too.
So
I think it makes baseball more fun, more dynamic, and it requires more of the people to be actual baseball players.
Yes, it does. It does.
That's
absolutely.
all. But we could argue about this for 50 years because that's how long people have been arguing about it or more.
We could, and maybe we'll actually do a segment on it in the next couple weeks or something because
we could.
Nothing else is going on, so maybe we'll debate the DH.
Hey! Well, then that's what you call a tease.
That is. But I don't know. I mean, baseball family, let us know what you think about these proposals. Yeah. I mean, I can't come up with anything better. If I could, maybe I'd have a job with Major League Baseball. I don't know. I don't love everything about them, but I think they're really just throwing stuff against the wall and seeing what sticks, right?
Yeah, well, the sooner we get baseball, what do I care?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't care anymore.
I know, and really what it comes down to is how are they going to keep the players safe? How are they going to avoid a single exposure and diagnosis? Because once they get one, it's all shut
they'll
down
shut
again,
it
right?
in. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so that's really what it all comes down to. But speaking of COVID-19, everybody stay home, stay safe. Let's get this thing knocked out so we can get back to baseball. And when we get back from our COVID-19 PSA, we're going to talk about our games of the week.
Yeah.
COVID-19, better known as coronavirus, has spread throughout the world. Symptoms of this respiratory disease may include fever, cough, and shortness of breath. These symptoms may show up 2 to 14 days after exposure. If you are experiencing these symptoms and have come into contact or are in an area with an ongoing outbreak, please call a hotline and/or consult with a physician. Clean and disinfect high-touch surfaces. For more information, please visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. Thank you.
Welcome back, baseball family. Like we said in the previous segment, we have been watching old games. We're super desperate, and we just need that shot of baseball, and it's totally okay. So if you're in the same boat, welcome to the party.
That's right.
We each watched a game this week. Brad, which one did you watch?
I watched the Bartman game.
And tell us about it.
I watched the Bartman game. For those of you
The Bartman game.
Yeah, so that was Tuesday, October 14th, 2003, Game 6 of the NLCS between the Marlins and Cubs in Chicago. Okay. Now, this was actually a really interesting game to go back and watch because I watched it when it happened, but I was 17 at the time. So it was really just like, just watching baseball for me. Like, whatever. But now going back and watching, the Marlins should, I think the Marlins would have won that game anyway. Like, let's just put that there. Okay.
Okay.
So, and it still comes down to the 8th inning, but I still think they would have won that game. So, there really wasn't a whole lot of eventful stuff going on. Like, the Cubs scored 1 in the first, 1 in the 6th, and 1 in the 7th. So going to the 8th inning, the Cubs had a 3-0 lead, right? And at that point, it really was all Cubs because they still out hit the Marlins 10-9. The Marlins would get a hit here and there, but couldn't capitalize, couldn't do anything. That's obviously why they didn't have any runs yet, But that 8th inning was actually really, really interesting to watch again. So I'm just going to kind of go through the 8th inning and talk about how it went. Okay,
Do it.
So
Yeah.
you've got Mike Mordecai leading off for the Marlins. Okay, you got Mark Pryor. He started the game, and he's gone this whole time. He was pretty dominant. Like I said, the Marlins weren't able to do much against him. Most of the time, they would get like one guy on base, and then he'd get stranded. Yeah. So, and that's if they got anybody on base up to that point. So Mordecai leads off, fly out to left field. Nothing eventful. But this is the crazy thing about this whole thing, okay? And why I can kind of defend what Steve Bartman did that inning. So Mordecai fly out to left field, okay? Juan Pierre comes up, and he hit a couple foul balls that direction, okay? These foul balls out of play down the left field line. He gets a double.
Yep.
Now, Luis Castillo comes up. Let me get my notes up here real quick. So Luis Castillo was up. He fouled a bunch of balls down the left field line. One of them happened to be the one that was right at the railing. And you watch it and you see Steve Bartman. He reaches to the railing, but the guy sitting in front of him reached to the railing too. So I think if Bartman hadn't hit it, I think that guy would have hit it. Okay.
Right.
And Moises Alou playing left field goes over there and he jumps up kind of against the wall to catch it, but I don't think he would have made the catch to begin with. Like,
you don't think so?
No, I don't, because of the way he was jumping and the way he was going to hit the wall in his glove and everything. I think it might have hit his glove, but I think the wall probably would have knocked it out if he'd have made a play on that ball because it was so close to that wall. And I can see why the umpires too. And I know I kind of sound like a Steve Bartman apologist here, but I just want to I guess to present some reason to this whole thing.
Yeah. Sure.
And
it's a huge deal. So
yeah, I mean, it was a really big deal, especially with the history of the Cubs. But from the umpire's angle, I'm sure it looked like he reached to the railing, which is perfectly legal. If the ball's in the stands, that's a fan's ball, and if you happen to make the catch, good on you, right?
Right.
There's nothing illegal about grabbing a ball from a player as long as it's in the stands. That's perfectly legal.
That's right. Yep.
So I could kind of see from that perspective, from where the umpires were maybe their angle, that it looked like he reached to the railing and there wasn't interference. But I think if there was replay, it would have gotten overturned and Castillo would have been out. However, okay, look at this. So Luis Castillo ended up walking on a wild pitch. Juan Pierre, who was on second, goes to third. So you got runners on the corners, one out now. So Pudge Rodriguez comes up, single to left. Juan Pierre scores. Castillo goes to second.
Pudge.
Okay. Let's take Castillo out of this whole thing. Okay. Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go 2 outs. Juan Pierre scores.
Yep.
Pudge on first.
Yeah.
Then you've got Miguel Cabrera, rookie Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah, rookie. Yeah, for sure.
He comes up and he hits a ground ball to shortstop. I want to say it was Alex Gonzalez. Goes to backhand it. Error. Hits off his glove. Bats away. So you've got runners on second and third now because, I forgot we're taking Castillo out of this. So you would have runners on first and second.
Right.
You would have you would have Miggy on first, Pudge on second, 2 outs. Okay, 2 down. Then you got Derek Lee comes up, double to left. Both those guys, everybody scored. He cleared the bases. Sorry.
Yeah, for sure.
That's not true. Miggy got to third, but still, Pudge comes around to score.
I was like, wow, Miggy got all the way.
Yeah. Well,
maybe I wasn't going to ask you because it's rookie Miggy.
I think rookie Miggy could have scored from first, possibly, but
probably.
But yeah,
yeah. Okay.
I think they would have held him. They would have held him at third, regardless of 2 outs. So then you've got Derek Lee on second, Miguel Cabrera on third, and you've got 3-1. Okay. Now Kyle Farnsworth comes in to pitch, and he walks Mike Lowell, which is funny to say now.
Right.
But, I mean, Mike Lowell had a great year that year, so I guess that's why they would walk him.
He did.
That actually loaded up the bases. If they did still walk Mike Lowell, which I don't think they would. Actually, no, they would have. Sorry. I keep throwing myself off with this whole what-if scenario that I'm doing. But
Right, we'd take Castillo out. Yeah, it changes everything.
Yeah. But the bases would still be loaded because you've got Lee on second, Miggy on third, then you've got Mike Lowell on first. Now, Mike Mordecai comes back up again, double to left field.
Yeah.
Double to left field. Everybody scores on that one. That one clears the bases.
Right.
Okay. At that point, that's a 3-4-1 game. Or 4-3 game, I think, at that point, right? Anyway, I still think they would have scored at least 4 runs that inning. Long story short.
Right, so you're saying if you take Castillo out, it doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't matter because they scored 8 runs that inning.
Yeah.
And they scored at least 4 before they got the second out.
And what inning was this in again?
This is in the top of the 8th.
See, and that's what you just said in the last segment, right? How many times do you get to the 7th and 8th inning and you chip at it, right? That's when things happen. Yeah. It's magical.
And that all happened in one inning, right?
Right.
But at the same time, like if they had just gotten, 2 of the 3 and then gotten a couple more in the 9th, like that's what you're missing out on with those 7-inning doubleheaders. But yeah, no, I feel like I just feel like the Cubs, like, they wouldn't have won that game regardless. And then I don't know, maybe they would have had a better mental state going into Game 7, and maybe could have won and gone on and played the Yankees. I don't know. It's really interesting to look at that and see the impact that it had. And it went down for so long that Steve Bartman was now the GOAT, and not the greatest of all time, but more along the lines of the Billy Goat.
The other way.
Yeah, Yeah. So, yeah, it was really interesting to watch, and I don't feel like the Cubs necessarily melted down or fell apart there was the error, but at the same time, it was just like it might have been just that little spark. Like you put spark on gasoline and it explodes, and that might have been what it was. Is the Marlins just said, "Hey, there's our second chance. Let's take advantage." So I don't know.
Totally.
I don't know. Mentally, it could have all played out differently, but the way that it actually played out, if you don't take that, if you put that out in there, I feel like the result would have been the same. So
interesting.
I'm gonna have a link in the doobly-doo if you want to go back and watch it as well, because I did a horrible job.
There's a bunch of Cubs fans who are not happy with you right now.
I know it. We just probably lost like half our listeners. I apologize.
Denise is gone. There goes half the listeners.
Yeah. I know. I was gonna preface be like, okay, if you're a Cubs fan, go ahead and fast forward to when Brig talks about his game. But
oh man,
yeah. So that's the Bartman game. It's really interesting to go back and watch. I found the whole thing on YouTube, commercials and everything. It was commercials for Matrix Reloaded. It had just come out on DVD.
Yes.
Oh man, it was like a little time capsule.
Days.
It was fun.
It's awesome.
All right, Brig.
And were the beer commercials just as bad?
Oh, like they were. All the commercials all around were just worse. They were bad, not good. Yeah, I wouldn't have bought anything based on the ads on that game. Let's just say that.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I switched
deodorant
because of a commercial, because of an ad campaign. So I am a sucker for ads.
Yeah, we all are. That's why they do their job.
That's right. Yep. Well, Brig, go ahead and tell us about the game you watched and see if we can get some people back.
Okay, so it's funny. So we're going to go back to overlapping again because that's what we do. Okay?
Yeah, we do.
We always overlap. My game had a wild pitch and was a Game 6 of the World Series. And came down to base hits. Can you guess? No, I'm just kidding. And it's named after a player. There were base hits. Shut up, Brad. But it's funny. My game was also named after a very controversial moment and the player that perpetrated it.
Oh, did you watch the Bill Buckner game?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you nailed it. Yeah, I watched the Bill Buckner game, also known as Game 6 of the 1986 World Series.
Yeah.
Saturday, October 25th, 1986. Game started at 8:25 Eastern. Shea Stadium, Queens. Okay. Now, just like you, this game was, this was crazy. So, Boston comes out. Look, the way the series, let me pull this up. I got it right here. The way the series breaks down up to now is Boston won the first two games at Shea. Then the Mets won the second and third, or the third and fourth games at Fenway. And then they go to Game 5 back at Fenway. Boston wins 2-4, and here we are, Game 6, Shea Stadium. Okay. Now, Boston takes a lead in the first with a run. They extend the lead in the second with another run. New York goes scoreless first two frames, 3-4 scoreless, but all the way around. Fifth inning, scoreless for the top of the fifth inning. Boston scores none. 2 runs in the fifth for New York. Okay, so now it's tied 2-2 in the fifth. The sixth inning goes scoreless. Seventh inning, Boston goes up 1. New York scores no runs in the bottom of the eighth. Boy, or the seventh. I'm really blundering this. I feel like we're off tonight. What the heck's going on?
I don't know.
Here's the deal. It all comes down to the 10th inning. I'm going to skip everything else. Okay. It all comes down to the 10th inning, and this is where I have all my notes, so it's going to be cleaner. All right. Here's the deal. 2 outs, nobody on. They start the 10th inning, bottom of the 10th inning, 2 outs, nobody on. Boston scored 2 runs in the top of the 10th inning to take the lead, and it was 5-3. Okay, 5-3, 2 outs, bottom of the 10th, Shea Stadium, and Mookie Wilson comes up to the plate. All right, he is facing relief pitcher or closer Bob Stanley. Bob Stanley comes in. He's a palm ball guy. That's 2 weeks in a row for me. But anyway, the game was called by Vin Scully as well, which made it the whole thing just absolutely magical. Mm-hmm. So bottom of the 10th, 1986, okay? Tying run ends up through base hits. The tying run ends up on third with Mitchell, and then Ray Knight is at first with the go-ahead. We're still at 2 outs. Mookie Wilson's at the plate against Bob Stanley, got subbed in. All right, now here's what happened. 9 pitches and 6 of them foul balls.
Wow.
Yeah. 9 pitch. I think the first one was a foul ball strike one, 2 balls, followed by every I think he fouled off almost every single pitch after that. Anyway, on the 9th pitch of the at-bat, friggin' Bob Stanley throws a wild pitch. Mitchell's paying attention at third. He scores, okay? Mm-hmm. Ray Knight moves all the way from first to third on the wild pitch. And Mookie Wilson's still up to the plate. So he jumps out of the way to avoid getting hit by the pitch. He jumps out of the way, gets back up. 1 scored. Now we got the go-ahead on third, 90 feet away. And 2 outs, full count, right? Here we go, Mookie Wilson. He gets the next pitch, he hits a ground ball up to first base, and it went right behind the bag, and Buckner bends down, and it went right between his legs.
Oof. Oof.
And there goes Ray Knight on a ground ball, literally up the first baseline, directly at Bill Buckner. He takes 2 half shuffle steps to the left, bends over. He doesn't get down on it. He bends over, and it goes right through his legs. Oh, my gosh.
Man.
I sat there like, oh, dude. Like, of all the blunders, and to be in the 10th inning in a World Series game, come on, man.
That's the thing that's like, man, that whole thing is so frustrating, especially you talk about how he doesn't get down. I feel like, and this is after having watched the Buckner error and having grown up with the ball never gets by you in that situation, especially first base. Like, I would have maybe got down on both knees and blocked it like a catcher to make sure it doesn't end up in right field, because that's too big of a moment. It's unbelievable to think that he didn't actually get down on it.
Yep. And you're right, because growing up, I heard nothing but you get down on it, right? If you have to eat the baseball, it might take a bad hop and hit you in the face, but you do not lift up your head and you put down that knee, like you get down, man.
Yeah.
And it has to have come from this. I mean, really, it was monumental.
I think it very well could.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody's seen it. Everybody knows about it, that you've got to get down on that ball no matter what it takes. Yep.
So to have Vin Scully call it was just amazing. To be, Shea Stadium in '86, the Miracle Mets, they go on to force a Game 7, and they win Game 7. Obviously, the whole thing is historic. But
yeah.
Now, trivia question. It's not a question. It's a bullet point. So for all you listeners out there, here, put this in your Gee Whiz collection. This was the first World Series ever to implement the rule wherein the DH is only used in the American League ball fields during the World Series.
Interesting. Gee Whiz, that's a good one.
Isn't that good for your Gee Whiz collection? I know.
That is a great one, yeah. I like that.
I was going to quiz you on it later, but I didn't want to. So that's why I didn't. I was going to save a round, but I decided not to. I should have though. Anyway.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I like that a lot.
If you haven't seen the Buckner game, I mean, the tension mounts constantly throughout the whole game. And Vin Scully is a whiz. He has this amazing way of making you think he cares about every single thing that happens, and that you should too, and he probably did. But to listen to him call this game, it's just exactly what it should have been, right? Just the whole experience was perfect. Unless
he's one of those guys that people say he could read the phone book or the dictionary and it would be interesting.
Absolutely, this guy
because of his delivery.
Yeah, it's amazing. And no homerism, but you're convinced he's rooting for you to win. I don't know.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yep, unreal.
So that was my game of the week.
That's funny because that was on my list of games to watch. I was going to get around to it eventually because I'm sure we have a while before we have any actual baseball.
Yeah.
So that was on my list, but I think I can cross it off now. So
yeah.
Maybe I'll go watch it for fun.
You should. You should. But really, you could fast forward all the way to the 10th inning. I mean, you really could, because everything and really, if you wanted to watch just the one at bat, you could. Vin Scully does a great job of recapping everything and making it very clear. You come in when they bring in Bob Stanley, even it'd be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's how I felt about the Bartman game, is you could really just come in the bottom of the 7th, so you see that the Cubs have a 2-0 lead, and they get that 3-0 lead, then go in and watch the 8th inning after that. And then really nothing, absolutely nothing happens after that 8th inning.
Yeah.
Like, bottom of the 8th, the Cubs go down 1-2-3. Marlins go down 1-2-3, top of the 9th, and then again, bottom of the 9th, Cubs go down 1-2-3. There's literally no action or excitement after that 8th inning.
Wow.
That's the game right there.
Pretty cool, man. Pretty cool that it all can be decided so quickly, right?
Yeah, and that's what we love about baseball, right?
Yeah.
Like we said last week, you don't leave because you never know when the game is over. You got to get 27 outs or plus if there's extra innings, and
it's true.
Yeah. There's no timer, so you're never out of it. But
I love it.
Well, you want to go ahead and wrap it up for us, Brig?
Yeah, man. Check it out, right? We love you guys. Thanks for listening with us. Thanks for being here. Thanks for helping us survive this Corona craziness. I hope you're not sitting at home putting on
really struggle.
Yeah. I hope you're not putting on the Corona 19 like I am. But I am packing it on. And it's bad. Anyway, thanks for being here with us, baseball family. We want to make sure that you have the best experience possible. So if you have comments for us or anything you want to bring to our attention, please do it through the mailbag. You can contact us at baseballtogether.com, and 9+us VIP group on Facebook is a great option. Don't forget to jump on the shop and grab yourself something nice as well. We just started doing masks. Okay, get your Corona mask. Get your baseball-themed Corona mask. Maybe we can put a link in the doobly-doo on those.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, so anyway, 9plusus.com. It's NINEPLUSUS.com. You can get the stuff we're wearing. You can get a bunch of stuff we aren't wearing because we can only wear a couple things at a time, okay? And that's all I'll say about that.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Hat and a shirt. That's about it at this point.
That's all I got.
But yeah, like you said, don't forget to jump on baseballtogether.com. There's something coming soon. Very soon there will be something new besides just the podcast every week, because you can watch and listen to the podcast each week on baseballtogether.com. And like Brig said, submit to the mailbag. We want to do another mailbag segment here coming up.
Yeah.
Maybe in the next week or two.
Ooh,
let's get some stuff submitted to the mailbag.
Sure.
We'll do some of that. And don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Let us know what you think. And baseball family, stay safe out there, and we will catch you next week.